Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, the developer of the MTPredictor software program. In this video I would like to take a look at the YM on the 3-minute chart for yesterday, which was May the 3rd, Thursday, using the MTPRT add-ons for NinjaTrader 7. In particular, I'd like to have a look at this TS3 sell setup we had here. But first, let's look at this chart from a standard trader's point of view. So here we had a TS3 sell. The sell was on a black STF, therefore you could take shorts as well as longs. Market came down to the first target. STF down here was weak, so the profit would have been a nice 4.2R profit because you'd have come out at the first target. Yes, there was another trade set up earlier in the day. We can put the analysis on this, and as you can see, this would have taken you into a short trade. STF red, valid short trade, you would have been stopped out for a -1R loss. So overall, a -1R loss, then a plus 4.2R profit would have been a very good result. As you can see, we use correct position sizing to vary the number of contracts to keep our risks small and under control. That is how we managed to keep the loss small on this first trade setup. But what I want to look at in this video is how we could combine some of our other MTPredictor techniques, particularly for managing this particular trade here. So let's now swap to the 15-minute chart and see what we have here, particularly in advance. So if I scroll back a bit, we use our DPs, and these are easy to put on the chart. Right mouse click on a pivot, select decision point. These are levels that are projected out in advance before the market even gets there, and that's important. They're leading indicators or leading support zones or resistance zones. And as you can see, this one was projected in advance and actually nailed the very low of the day for you. I want to use the NinjaTrader standard drawing tools just to put a rectangle around this, because by doing that, when I come down to the 3-minute chart, that level, support level, stays on our chart for us. And as you can see, great that this actually nailed the very low of the day for us. So let's have a look at how this trade was unfolding. We put the analysis back on again. Market came down to our first target. We could say, well, actually I knew that this support zone was down here a little bit further, therefore I could choose to run the trade a little bit further. Perhaps I'll be looking for our typical wave 3 WPT target. So let's put our risk reward on, coming down to approximately our typical wave 3 target. Now you could say, oh yes, plus 11R trade, this could be a very good trade setup. So let's see what happened as the trade was unfolding. And this is the beauty of having other MTPredictor trades techniques available, so you can monitor the trade as it was unfolding. Market came down, came up, came down. If I right mouse click at this point and do intermediate, you can see that this said that this was a potential wave 3. The market then would trace back up, would trace back down again, and we were still not quite at our initial target. But if we put our Elliott waves on here, again it's dead easy by doing right mouse click and then Elliott wave intermediate. As you can see, it's now found that this decline is a 5-wave sequence, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're not quite at the minimum wave 5 WPT, but for those of you who know Elliott wave will know that once you're in the wave 5, that particular sequence is nearing an end, and as such, if you're in a short trade like this, you should be very, very wary and think, well, actually we are looking for a potential bottom now, and it could be in the process of coming in. So you have to look at the market very closely. So are there any other indications, particularly at this point in time here, that we can use that we know of with other MTPredictor techniques? Well, one other we look at is what we call a VSA, or high volume spike, and that is this indication down here on the volume chart. You can see this bar here is red, indicating that if I put the cursor on, we can see it a little bit easier, that this bar I'm hovering over here is what we call our high volume VSA setup. In other words, this bar went down below this low to new lows. If I put the DP on from here, you can see the decision point caught this low beautifully. The market then reversed back up again straight away, so we know from our VSA setup that the high volume, the prior bar or the previous bar, was not selling to push the market to new lows. It was actually buying. Now that means that we knew that the market was making a low and as such was likely to reverse. This was backed up particularly as we're in our larger degree support zone and also with the end of a 5-wave sequence down there. So the sensible thing to do now is to then start to trail your stop just above the bar highs, and as you can see this would have stopped you out here for a lovely plus 9R profit. And this is a great example because it not only combines our standard and automatic MTPredictor analysis here, but it also combines our larger degree support and resistance zones coming in here. It also combines our Elliott wave pattern that we have in the MTPredictor add-ons. It also combines our decision point and our VSA setup, again all coming together to help you manage this trade. Now that's all well and good, but when you're actually placing the trade, is there anything else that can help you? Well, yes there is, because we also have, for an additional cost, we have a trade module. Okay, now if I clear everything off here, this trade module will help you manage this trade by placing and managing the trades for you. In fact, actually I can leave that on because that's done the work for us already. And as you can see, what this does, when you place your analysis on, it knows your entry, it knows your stop, and it knows your initial target. It also does your correct position sizing, which is the important point here, so it allows you to initially place your trade very, very quickly. At the time you'd have just done execute and then done yes, and it would have placed your trade at the correct level with the correct number of contracts. But the beauty about this trade module is as the trade was progressing down here, you could have said, well actually at this point I now want to swap my trade management to the ATR stop. So when this trade was live, these buttons would be enabled, so you could just literally just click on ATR and then it would manage the stop for you with our ATR stop coming down. Once this bar was in the process of unfolding and you knew that the VSA setup was coming in at the bottom, you could then toggle to this option here, which would then trail the protective stop just at the bar highs, or one tick beyond the bar highs, and as such that would have automatically stopped you out there. So hopefully this has shown you how when you combine your knowledge of all the MTPredictor strategies that we use, you could have not only uncovered this automatic trade setup but managed it using our Elliott wave, our VSA and our large degree support zone. The trade module would have then helped not only place your initial trade but also would have helped you manage the trade on your account as the market unfolded down into this low. So hopefully this has been a good example of the tools that we have in the MTPredictor software to help improve you in your own trading.